Hello and welcome back to Ahead of the Game. It is Tuck's Sports Takes, Ryan Tucker, and beside me, my main man, Sports Pez Jez, back for another ep of Ahead of the Game. How cool.
Awesome. We're just pumping them out now. We've got it into the swing of things. Besides the whole setup thing, it taking longer than the show to actually fix this setup inside my bedroom. It's going really well, I think. And then this hand talking, I feel like in Talladega Nights. What do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
So,
I've got mine strapped down underneath my desk so they don't come up out of the,
what, your hands or what? What's strapped
yeah,
down
my
underneath your
hands.
desk? Oh,
Strapped to me a leg, mate.
yeah, well, great start.
No, it was good. Short and sharp episodes. Just
Mm,
chatting sports about what's happening in the last 24 hours and the next 24 hours, whatever is kind of trending, whatever we feel
yeah.
like we want to talk about.
It's
Today,
more
going to
about
get into
us.
some, yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Some bad sports takes. There's been a pretty big one over the last day, as well as some AFL injury stuff.
Mm.
Some teams are in trouble of their season already being over before it's even started. And then we touch on Luka Doncic and the LA Lakers getting a big
It's the
win
hands
over the
again.
Mavs.
It's my hands.
Take the strong hand.
Yeah.
Man, a scary movie. That franchise, that whole series of
Ah,
movies is one of the best things that's ever happened in the world.
yeah, it was epic, like, when you were 13. I wonder if have you watched them recently? I wonder
No.
if you would actually think that they're still funny or still good. You still use the the one-liners,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Wayans.
they were awesome.
Yeah. I have to go watch them again.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that.
Alright.
A pretty big bullshit take on
Mm,
everybody's talking about this right now, so we've got to put our 2 cents in as well. And
mm.
just completely egregious sports take from Marty Sheargold on Triple M. You hadn't even heard about it, or did you know about it before we got online this
No,
morning?
I just saw the headline that he said something really outrageous about women's soccer, women's football, but hadn't gone into the actual article or listened to it until we sort of brought it up when we were prepping for the show today. But it's just wild. Whatever your sort of your opinion is on the whole saga of men and women's sports and all of that. I think it's an outrageous take. It's completely out of line, and the delivery made it even worse. So we're
Mm.
obviously not going to show it here, but I think if you haven't heard it, listen to it. It's like that's what makes it. Yeah, that's why I think that's why he got fired. Like, I think you can say what you want to say in your opinion. That's like if you're right or wrong, it's your take. But the delivery of it was disgusting, disrespectful, and like for me, I think he deserved absolutely what he got.
Mm. Yeah, as like both of us being fathers
Mm,
of young girls and having that aspiration for them. Like my daughters love playing football and getting into sports, and I can just
mm,
imagine. I seen a post on Twitter or on X earlier today from someone that's like just said, put yourself in a position where you're a parent of a young girl driving your car. They're in the back seat, maybe on the way to footy training or something like that, and then
mm,
that person comes on the airwaves with that sort of rhetoric, and then also like everyone just laughing about it in the background. It's just like
mm.
how demoralizing for a young girl to hear that about their their idols or their sport or something in that character. It's a really really bad take. It's disgusting and nothing that we can stand behind. And yeah, we just got to get that out of there, I guess.
Yeah, like, I think you have a really good point there. Just real quickly, is like he has this bad take, but there's nobody sitting in the studio with him, sort of going, "Come on, mate, calm down," or even if you do it in a light-hearted, joking way to try and sort of put him back in line. Everybody just sort of went along with it and let it happen. I think
Mm,
that's a really interesting point you bring up, because that's atrocious as well. You've got to stand up for these things. It's the
mm.
like you said. We've got kids, and there's a lot of kids out there, a lot of families, and it's atrocious to be on the radio.
Yeah. Anyway, that's done.
Mm,
The next thing on our list to talk about AFL injuries. Now, the AFL
Mm,
season, they brought in this opening round. A lot of people don't like it. They're trying to compete with the NRL, it would seem, and the way that they split up their first round. But opening round is next weekend,
mm,
and we've started to kind of put our thoughts towards the opening of the season, and both of us writing on bets.com.au as
mm,
sports writers, journalists,
mm,
editors, whatever you
mm.
want to call us, bad shit takers of
Yeah.
sports.
What do you mean? We're,
um,
we're giving out the world's best predictions, buddy, on AFL and NRL.
oh, they're actually pretty good. We've got a winning record.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the getting into it now, and just like the AFL website is disgusting. Just want to get that out there first and foremost. Their
Oh,
injury list is still
oh.
still showing the grand final teams from last season. But
Mm,
just diving into this, I've seen it in the media, on social media, that a lot of teams are struggling with injuries already, before the season's even gotten going. And
mm,
mate, I'm just worried about about some of these teams, and especially my own Frio Dockers with the injuries that they've picked up over the. Just look at this: Darcy,
mm.
Fife, Pierce,
Yeah,
Switter, Walters. It's like, come on,
yeah.
guys, get your shit in order.
Yeah, I think the only team that doesn't have to be worried about an injury list is Brisbane because half of their team was out last year and they still won the premiership. So, um, but it is pretty scary. I think probably the biggest team that's been hit. We've also got a whole lot of season reviews, AFL and NRL season reviews, team reviews with our sort of win totals on there and predicted ladder finishes. Writing a whole heap of those, even sort of a week or two ago, and you started to see like the Western Bulldogs are in major trouble. Bailey Smith moves, is not playing at the club anymore, and then you've got all sort of their big guns. I'm trying to pull up their team. They're obviously all the way down the bottom of this list,
Yeah, it's on
but
there.
you've got what
Waitman, Ugler Hagen,
Waitman,
Trelaw.
yeah. So they're in big trouble. Like their whole forward line is basically injured, yeah, or like their main goal kickers. So if they start the season, like they're a team that's sort of you were predicting as usual as they have been for I don't know as long as I can sort of remember. They're always sitting on the cusp of the eight. Besides the year that they won the premiership, but they're always sort of fighting for those final positions. If they start the year 0-5 or something like that because they can't kick goals, then they're in huge trouble. But it is a bit of a worry, but I think we'll see. Like going through the lists, if you're going onto the list and having a look at them yourself, like I think we'll see it's a lot of teams take this community shield or community round pretty seriously. So we start to see a lot of these players that have missed the preseason or are on injury lists at limited training and being managed. We'll see them come into sides and have a pretty good run. They're not likely to play full games, but I think we'll get to see sort of actually how fit a lot of these teams are heading into round one because it's a little bit like preseason's a little bit tricky. But I think that is the main thing. It's like you're worried that a lot of these stars are already being heavily managed and training. If you get into sort of training news and stuff, you see that they're not training at full capacity either, and you're like 2 weeks out. So that sort of has me worried. You either come into the season and you're a little bit underdone and you can get an injury, or you're carrying an injury in. So but each to their own what they do in the preseason, really.
Yeah, I think it's weird that you can see quite a few Achilles injuries throughout this list, and
Mm,
ACLs for multiple
mm,
teams. And we touched this in the first episode when we had the what do you think between, does in the NRL, does Craig Bellamy win round one, or does Tommy Turbo snap his hamstring? And
mm,
you could almost pose the same question here: is it an Achilles or an ACL for a player in the AFL? Just look here.
yeah.
In every team, ACL, ACL, Achilles, Achilles, ACL. Every single team has it, and
Yeah,
it's like,
that's what did
why?
Brisbane last year. Like
Yeah,
they had what, 1, 2, 3, 4 players that were season ending. May have even been 5 actually. 5 players
I
that
think it
went
was
out with
5. Yeah,
ACL injuries. Like, it's not great. That like ends careers. Even if it's like they're out for a season and they come back, you're not. A lot of players don't recover as well come back to the same form that they were in before they do an ACL. You just don't have that confidence, or it doesn't feel as strong when you're changing direction or pulling up or stopping or even landing.
Mm.
So it is a bit of a worry. It's a phenomenon, Ryan. Maybe it's a conspiracy. It might be the next concussion thing. Might be the next concussion thing. You got to come out if you twist your knee bad and you got to sit off for 10 minutes, and so the doctor can check out your ACL before you're allowed to come back on.
And how does
Maybe.
that work in with
I don't know.
the other
Need Will
conspiracy,
Smith.
like a player's
Need Will
out with
Smith
a
to do a movie.
with a hamstring injury the
Mm.
week after a big night?
Yeah, maybe the ACL's the new hamstring.
Yeah.
It's been a big off season, can we say, huh?
How
Boys
many
have been
ACLs have
having
you done
some
in your life?
one or two. Let's not get into that. We'll get
Let's
cancelled.
not get into that. No, but it is exciting to get the AFL back up and going. It feels so long since. It depends how you look at it. Obviously, it feels so long since you were at the game or you watched the game. You could feel the feeling of watching a live AFL game, but it
Mm,
also just feels like a few weeks ago that we're writing the previews for the grand final, and now we're back at
yeah,
round one again.
absolutely. Yeah, but it's exciting. I don't care how long it's been. I'm happy that the AFL and the NRL is back. It's the premium time of the year. Formula One, like we said, this is go time now. We've been watching basketball and cricket for the summer, and now it's time to get stuck into the hard stuff.
Do you think there's been a lot of expectation on Hawthorn's shoulders given their season last year and the way
Mm,
that they kind of just shot up the ladder towards the second half of the season? Do you think the expectation on them is going to be a little bit too heavy this season? You always see in every sport the team that kind of bursts out of the not out of the blocks, they didn't do that, but burst onto the scene with young players and young core
mm,
riding momentum, they regress a bit in year
mm.
two. What do you reckon with
Yeah,
Hawthorn?
yeah, it's hard. Like I said, writing their preview for the season and crunching out like computer models and stuff that spat out where they were going to finish, and they were going to finish outside the eight. And I was hesitant. I was going to sort of write against it, but I think that you've definitely like there's warrant to be worried if you're a Hawthorn supporter, because yeah, they started the season very average and they finished like absolutely flying, but I don't I don't know. It is a really, really tough call, because I think as they sort of showed in the finals, they've got this. I don't know, arrogance. The wrong word. It's like confidence, a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of, they know who they are. They're full of belief, and that could be actually the thing that sort of gets them through, and then they could be a surprise packet and be pushing for potentially a top four spot, because they don't care. I think like they obviously care, but they don't care. It's Ryan's
Yeah.
favorite line when he's trying to make you do something you don't want to do. He's like, I don't care, but I care. But like it's just like they can definitely just run amok and just start the season flying and disrespect everyone and not care about who they're going up against, and pump the whole league just as much as they could crash and fall flat on their face with a meat pie on their head.
Well, you would expect other teams to adjust the way they play against Hawthorn. It felt like they were a little bit,
Mm,
um, caught out, a bit surprised or
mm,
ambushed by the way the Hawks
mm,
played last season and weren't able to
mm,
adjust to it. But you'd think over the off season, the coaching staff for, you know, or the other 17 AFL teams would have been looking at video and say, okay, well, if they're going to come at us with this type of game plan, then we're going to have to be able to match it like this. I don't think they're going to have the same success with that style of play that they've had last
mm.
season in in the same quantity as what they did in the second half of 2024.
Yeah, I think that's your good point there. It's the same quantity. I think they're still going to pull the pants down of a lot of players, a lot of teams, because they're not going to be able to stop it. There was just so much energy. They just suffocated. Was so good in transition, so much pressure, got themselves out of pressure with like incredible sort of handballing play to get out of the contest and get a decent clearance, not just a a clearance downfield. It was like quality ball coming out eventually because they took the time to make that extra handball. But yeah, but teams are definitely going to be onto it. But there's going to be a lot of teams that can't stop it.
Hmm. All right, let's have a quick break. Come back and talk about some NBA from earlier today. Okay, and we are back, and it's time to talk about some NBA sports pairs. Jez, Luka Doncic was traded to the LA Lakers from the Dallas Mavericks earlier in February. Nobody has missed that, and now it was the first matchup against his old team. The Mavericks came to Crypto.com Arena and got their asses handed to them. Well, they didn't get belted, but they lost the game, and Luka had a triple double. So, I
Mm.
mean. How do you feel being Luca in this situation?
I don't know. It must be a really sort of tough situation for him because he gave so much of his life to the Mavs, and now all of a sudden he's yeah, you're out. And I think it came very abruptly, very unexpected. So there's got to be so much hurt, but I don't know. It feels like, yeah, Luca cares, but he doesn't care. That's the line of this show. He
The
cares, but
theme
he
of
doesn't really
today?
care. He cares, but he doesn't really care. Like he's just gonna want to stick it to him. It feels like that's the attitude that he has, and happy to do that with a massive game of 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists. So he didn't hold back at all. LeBron, like he's still an absolute machine. Huh? He's an
Mm.
absolute gun. 27 points and 12 rebounds, and he's like 55.
That's it. He's touching 60
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. He's pushing. He's pushing. He got to go out with the Walker, but he's still just like popping threes and busting chops. But anyway,
It-
that's off the point. I, I think the biggest thing that I pulled out of like watching the highlights of that was what's the owner's name of the Mavs?
oh, they
What's his
they
name?
changed it. It's not Mark. Were you thinking of Mark Cuban or no?
Yeah, I don't
He was
know,
the
but
old owner.
anyway, the whole crowd was just cheering thanks, whoever his name is, like
Oh, Nico
through
Harrison, the
big,
GM.
massive, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
just cheering the whole game, just thanks, Nico, thanks, Nico, thanks, Nico, like it's just brutal, but love it. It's like that European style of football when they're singing, and but it was in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
NBA stadium.
yeah. No, it's good. I did the write up of this game over on bets.com.au yesterday. I didn't do extreme. I had the right idea, but the numbers didn't quite match up. But one thing that I did like about
This is
uh,
still confidence in the readers right there. I had the idea, but just didn't.
well, I knew Lakers were going to win. I knew that they were going to score, and the biggest one, the one that I liked, was Rui Hachimura. He has
Mm,
really lifted his output since Doncic came to the team. This is the fifth game they've played together,
mm.
and he scored I think 15 or more points
Yeah,
in
15 on the
in
button.
all in all 5 games that they've played.
Mm,
Going into yesterday's match, I think he was averaging 19 and a half in the 4 games played,
mm,
compared to his season average, which was much lower. And the game that Luca missed against Portland, he only scored 9 points. So if you like to have a bit of a sprinkle and a flutter, then Rui Hachimura in games when Luca's played recently is doing really well, and I think that's what Luca brings to a team is what you say about a lot of these superstars and the difference between a championship team or a championship player is that they make everybody else around them better,
mm,
and with the Lakers trading out AD and not having a big man, everybody needs to be really good if the Lakers are going to have a chance at winning a championship this season. I personally don't think they have the roster to do it. They're going to struggle against teams that can throw out a big lineup, but they're going to be there or thereabouts because Luca and LeBron and the players that are around them, they can make other players good. If you see this assist
mm,
total from
mm.
from them, and it's insane.
But what do you think the Lakers are going to miss the most of not having AD there?
It's protection in the defensive protection around the rim.
Mm,
They just don't
mm,
have the depth anymore or the caliber player of AD. Now you see, he's out injured, and he's not sure if he's going to come back to the Mavs this season. So, kind of in hindsight, Lakers definitely won that deal, even without the injury. They probably won it anyway because,
Yeah.
Luka's Luka. But even up until, and I think even now, like, the odds still have the Mavs, I think, top 10 or top 12 to win the championship.
Mhm.
Even with AD out and injured and not really sure, and without Luka in the team. So
What's
I
their
don't know whether
record
that.
since he? Do you know? Have they been winning since he
Yeah, well,
left?
that's the
Put you on
thing.
the
So
spot.
I
Right.
think they're 5-2, or now they'll
Mm,
be 5-3
mm.
since Luca left. I mean, Kyrie Irving is just still amazing. He scored
The next
35
boomer.
points. Yeah, imagine that.
Mm, mm. Imagine if they could sort out Bryce Cotton's visa and make him, or citizenship, and make him Australian, and then having Kyrie there, and then you've got Giddy also had a triple double, I think, in the last game that he played.
I
Uh,
don't know how you fit all those players together though in the one team and get it, because
right, which I mean,
having the ball. Yeah, I don't know. That's another episode. We can talk about that another day. But Kyrie, 35 points. Clay Thompson also with 22 last night. So they still have scorers on their team and have the ability to score well. But without AD, I don't see them kind of going deep into a postseason kind of run. But
mm. Yeah, who knows? But like, yeah, there's so much quality still there. Anyway, like if you think AD was playing and you look at their starting five, you're like, it's still class. But put Luca in there as well, and
yeah,
they should have been winning
but
championships. Well, they come close.
yeah, I mean, you don't really ever hear of a team going to the NBA finals and then trading out their best player the year after.
It's
It's
ludicrous.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's today. Done
Mm,
and dusted. Ahead of the game. Quick fire, hitting the
mm,
hard points, the takes, all the good stuff. Speak to you again soon, Jess.
mm.
Thanks for
All right,
today.
mate. Speak to you soon. Thank you. See ya.
Don't forget to follow us all on
Mm.
socials. Tuck Sport Takes, Sports Pez Jez. Check out our previews. You point, my arm's going down. There we go. Um, yeah, let us know in the comments. Give us a like, subscribe, all that. And let us know what you want to see going forward. Anything more, Jess?
No, have a good day,
No.
mate.
Have a good day. You too. Bye.
Bye.